All right, rep a beauty.
See you around.
We're fully charged.
Let's go.
Last one.
Hi, Sluts Every Day, investigating where the we're going today.
So today we are going to meet Neville Jetta.
Right, now I did look him up, so he's a football player.
He is, but he's a proud Noongar man and he's sharing with us Indigenous wisdom. I would love to have an understanding of NAIDOC theme this year.
It's like Heal Country.
Which is what we're all about on this whole journey. How do we heal our planet? How do we all come together?
Here comes the sun. Pickles!
Neville Jetta, interview, take one.
Mate, who are you? Why am I interviewing you?
Yeah, my name's Neville Jetta. I'm a Noongar man from southwest Western Australia, living in Melbourne, playing for the Melbourne Football Club, and obviously I'm an Indigenous person, and I guess I'm here to talk about Indigenous issues and how it affects Australia as a whole.
Where are we right now? What are we doing here? Why are we doing it?
We're in Yarra Bend. It's a pretty significant place. We're next to the Yarra River. Obviously, the Wurundjeri people have lived and practiced here their culture for thousands and thousands of years.
What was it like growing up as a Noongar man, you know, in your country?
There was a lot of support. Culture was visible. A lot of respect within our community, especially for our elders. That was always the first thing that was taught to us: is respect your elders. They've got the knowledge. They got the understanding of who we are and what we've gone through as people and our history as a whole.
NAIDOC theme in 2021 is Heal Country. Can you explain what that means to you?
Yeah, Heal Country to me, so I probably look at more holistically. Yeah, it's not just country. We are, as Aboriginal people, Indigenous people, a part of country. So it's being able to connect, understand and go beyond what you already know. There's been a lot of trauma to our country as a whole over 200 plus years now. We've been, as Indigenous people, been caring and looking after country and looking after each other for thousands of years, and we got it to a point where, you know, it was self-sustainable and we were living off the land and everything was going right, and I'm not blaming anyone, but we've obviously now taking more than we need, and that affects Indigenous people. You know, we see a tree cut down, we see a new road get put in, we see building after building after building and being put up, and you know, we see our country getting less and less, and it's harder to identify our country and our borders.
Indigenous people have that connection to land and country. It's almost like the healing part is actually getting the rest, the other Australians, to have that same connection, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful connection. Yeah, it's spiritually, you know, not only physically. When I get time, I get to go home and go back out on my country, my dad's country, mum's country, and I go out there and just be with them and just switch off and really connect. And I've been able to take people who aren't from my country back there. So they took a whole new appreciation for that, and are still talking about it and sharing with their friends and family.
And those language groups, as you mentioned, the Guernsey you designed. Yeah, what was it?
Want me to grab it?
Yeah,
All right. Yeah, so, is that all right? We're jumping a bit ahead. The Guernsey that I created for last year was about connection.
Yep.
Connection to each other as people, but also connection through language.
My eyes are bloody terrible. Okay, so these are all the languages?
There's all the language groups, yep, that are recognised. And this is a story of how we are connected and still connected both on land and through the sky. And our song lines that have always been there and always been passed on.
Nev, living in cities like we do, I feel like people have kind of lost their connection to land, to the sky, to the rivers. What do you think you can do to reconnect?
Being away from my home, I definitely understand what that is.
Yep.
I get to go home a few times a year and go back and reconnect and help me mentally, physically, but also spiritually, and be able to come back and do what I need to do away from home. You're on country wherever you are, regardless if you're in a city or out in the country. So find landmarks or find a park and go there and appreciate the spot that you're in. Like, yeah.
Nat and I live in apartments in a city.
Yep.
talking about this, what's the one thing you think that we could do the first, to get started to actually connect or reconnect, with Indigenous peoples and the land?
Probably first and foremost, you got Google. Jump online and Google the traditional owners of the land that you live on right now, and then go out and find a co-op, or even if you live in inner city Melbourne, you got the Koori Heritage Trust, which is in Fed Square. You go in there and they have every little bit of artefact, history, story. They know the history about not only obviously the Wurundjeri people, but all the tribal groups within Victoria. It's right there in Fed Square.
What does reconciliation look like to you in Australia?
A reconciled Australia to me is a greater understanding and appreciation of our past history, pre and post settlement, but then also being able to find opportunities to walk together in the future and create a more understanding future, one where we all understand Indigenous culture, Aboriginal culture, Torres Strait Islander culture, and one where we're accepting of it and we're able to celebrate it together.
Hello.
Mate, I haven't seen you in years and years. I've got some big news now. Listen in on this one. I caught up with Neville Jetta. He's a proud Noongar man and professional AFL football player for the Melbourne D's.
Awesome.
And what he told me was to basically seek out Indigenous culture in your area, wherever the land that you're on.
Cool.
Now, Nat, I know you're going to be curious as to how you start doing that. And his advice was, Google it, mate.
Google it. Makes sense, yeah.
And from there, you can find out who the traditional owners are from the land that you're on. Reach out, head on down to the local, Indigenous co-ops.
Yeah.
Or it's at museums or cultural centres where you can learn about, Indigenous culture and the history and wisdom, and give you context as to why we've got to look after our environment.
That makes sense. Take a bit of initiative and self-educate. Google.
Nev mentioned as well that this year the NAIDOC theme is actually Heal Country. So
Right on.
there's a lot to be learnt in that around not only healing the relationships, but as well as our connection with the land. So we need to get to work and start using our ears and listening.
Yep. Fucking oath.
Thanks again for sending me out doing all this stuff. It's been fantastic. I reckon there's still a lot more to do. So I look forward to seeing you in season 2.
No worries, champion.
What do you reckon, Nev? Still a chance for me to change careers, become an AFL player?
I don't think so, mate.